right, everybody. Welcome to BO Boys for July 1st. It's a fucking raw feed. We're doing it live. I'm Clayton. I'm all messed up.
You're all messed up, Clayton, but don't worry. We got backups. We got reinforcements here because we have got, he's not the ace. He's always the ace to us. He'll always be known as the ace. We've got from Midnight Movie Talk, the one, the only, Erick Weber is back on the BO Boys. Welcome to the show, Erick.
Boys, thrilling to be back, and it's been too long, but I'm ready to get into it. Wild weekend this past weekend, and we still have a lot of big films still to come in the next couple weeks.
Well, I got to get your take on this weekend because you have been at the forefront of this Blumhouse is a house in disarray story. And I don't know if you saw it. Jason Blum, he's out there doing mea culpa. He's making the rounds talking about, he went on, there's an actor who has a podcast about the movie business. And he went on there today to talk about the failure of Megan. I don't know. It seems like you didn't catch this, but Jason Blum, yes. There's an actor who's on a Crapple TV Plus show who has a studio podcast. And Jason Blum was the guest on that today. He was talking about how Megan failed. Now, he's on that story today. You've been on that story for weeks. What is going on at Blumhouse? What happened with Megan 2.0 bombing out?
Well, listen, first of all, you look at that film, and the reason the first one did, 180 million worldwide, which is insane. I think they said the profit on that was like 79 million or something in that neighborhood. So it makes sense you're going to make another one. But you've got to go back to when that film came out in 2023. It was January, right? January, as you guys know, dead zone. So if you put something that is even semi-interesting in that spot, you can possibly have success. And that really was a fluky thing, okay? It wasn't just that. You go back to 2023, you had COVID, right? Just coming out of that. And people were excited to go back to movie theaters. And if you look at a lot of those films from right in that late 2022, 23, people were going more to movies that wouldn't have done as well if it were in a normal environment. I think Megan benefited from that. Also the TikTok stuff. So all that combined to turn this thing into a big winner financially for Blumhouse. And they figured, let's make a sequel. But, you see the film, and I suffered through it last week. And listen, after seeing the trailer, I didn't even want to watch it. And the film's actually worse than the trailer.
Wow.
And they genre swap it, right? You've got this Terminator 2 thing going on. It's got very little horror. The acting's terrible. It's 2 hours. It should never be 2 hours. So it is just pure suffering. And I really wanted to see that film bomb. Okay, I want to see films succeed at the marketplace, but we have seen far too many films that are way too forgettable from Jason Blum and Blumhouse that eventually I want to see him have to answer for cranking out mediocrity. And this film is even lower than that. And Universal's happy because the movies are cheap, right? We know that. But how about you make a great movie for cheap? I mean, there are other people to work with from a script standpoint because clearly you look at these films like A Night Swim or Wolfman from this year. I mean, I defy both of you right now. Name 5 great Blumhouse movies.
I mean, could you say Get Out 5 times? That's the issue.
But that's
you're not allowed to say it 5 times.
And also that was early, right? So that's all about Jordan Peele. They kind of fell into that. When Jason has to make the film and he's picking these directors and these scripts, that's where it all goes sideways. So there are aberrations, but overall, if you look at the quality output, it is low from Blumhouse. So I'm glad he's out there. I can't wait to listen to it because he needs to answer for that. Because if I was at Universal and he worked for me, I would be demanding a lot of answers.
Well, he went on this show, but the show he didn't go on that I think he needs to go on for his mea culpa tour is Midnight Movie Talk. Why is that not where Jason Blum is explaining what happened? That is when the penance could begin, is he's got to go Sunday night spectacular Midnight Movie Talk.
No, listen, I'm going to freely admit that I go very hard on. I've gone really hard on Jason Blum and numerous other people. I mean, just the way it is. This is the way I roll. It's professional. I mean, listen, I'm not going after his family. I'm talking about the fact that you're the head of a studio. I mean, quasi studio right under Universal umbrella, but still a ton of power. And you have to answer for your decisions creatively. Look at the sports world. If you're the quarterback of the team and your team loses, you're going to be in front of a bunch of reporters answering questions. And some of those questions are not easy. And I think that's fair. I would love to grill him, but I have called him a fraud. I'm not going to lie. I really have. Because if you look at, again, his filmography, it is not great. Look at Five Nights at Freddy's, a film that should be really fun, and it's just dripping in this dour, depressing mood. And then you look at like a Willy's Wonderland, the one with Nick Cage, similar, obviously, the Chuck E. Cheese, Gone Crazy stuff. It's so much more fun. Blumhouse doesn't know how to have fun, and that is a big issue as well. But I'd love to have him on, but I can tell you this, I would not be kind because, listen, you're in a position where you're going to take the arrows because you're the head of a major production company here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's interesting too because you were giving us that thought exercise of name 5 great Blumhouse movies, and I probably could do it, but none of them would come post-pandemic for sure. Mm-hmm. And he's got coming up Black Phone 2, and then the Five Nights at Freddy's sequel. So here's the thing about Black Phone 2. It's the same sort of situation as Megan, is that it came out during a time where there wasn't as many interesting or good things to see. So that is not a slam dunk for him. And then Five Nights at Freddy's, I mean, is this a Tomb Raider trap? Is this a thing where, yeah, everybody was into the first one, it was pretty bad. Are they going to show up for the second one? I mean, he could be in real trouble here.
And that's really key. When you look at sequels, a lot of times you say, where's the audience that wants to feel that novel feeling they had when they first watched? Like, you go back to Dune. I mean, Dune for me is a much better film than Dune 2 because of when you're in that first world of Denis and that adaptation that he brought to the big screen. It's just different. The awe is there, right? And now that we've seen Five Nights at Freddy's, will that audience return? It's not going to be as big. I just can't see it unless the film is great. And guys, how often are we getting great films? Very rarely.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that a week ago. But at this point, even though it's a big video game IP, I think Five Nights at Freddy's could be in real trouble. I don't care how many Matt Pat cameos you have, how many famous YouTube gamers they throw in there. That first movie was bad, and Blumhouse might just have some stink on it, where the kids growing up today don't look at Blumhouse the way kids growing up 10 years ago did. And that could be a real problem.
And then, obviously the Megan 2 plays in perfectly with that because it just damages the brand that much more. I mean, you go back to Wolfman, right? Remember, there was a lot of excitement for Wolfman when that was announced. And then we finally get the film back in January, and you're like, oh, my God, what's going wrong? I just want to know. But I can tell you this. When I listen to anything that Jason Blum recommends. You go back, you look at a film like The Surfer. I don't know if you guys saw that. The Nick Cage movie was out a few months ago. Small film. I don't think it's very good. He said it was a great film. I'm like, wow, okay, listen, if you're going to say something's great, it better be great. He also just turned around, and I don't know how you guys feel about this. You know how I feel about 28 years later. Wow, okay? And he said it's an A+. And I'm like, wow, okay, so this is the issue. If you're saying The Surfer is an outstanding, excellent film, and then you say 28 years later is an A+, this is where the problem comes in. This is why I call him a fraud, because if you do not know what constitutes quality and greatness, then how can you, as the head of a studio production company, how can you make great films if you think that these are outstanding? That's the issue.
Right. So you're calling Jason Blum a fraud. I want to move on to someone else that you've maybe had some issues with. We've got Eddington coming out of you. We've only got you for 30 minutes, so we can only go through
you go for like hours.
You got to grind all the axes.
So we're going through the priority list of who the Ace has issues with.
Yep.
Eddington, Ari Aster. You were, I forget, you were not a fan of Beau is Afraid, right? Is that okay?
No.
Okay.
If you Google me and Beau is Afraid, I saw that film here in Burbank, and I was in a really small little theater. It was like a first screening. And after the film was over, I don't know if you guys saw Beau is Afraid. I think it's one of the worst films ever made, okay?
I love it. I will say this. I'm a New Yorker. I love the first 40 minutes or so, the New York, the city set thing. I'm like, you know what?
Yep.
Accurate. Nailed it. And then after that, it goes in the wilderness. I don't care. But I did like the first 40 minutes.
Okay. But then you still have another 2 hours and 20 minutes of suffering, right? If the film were an hour and a half, I wouldn't hate it as much and have absolutely savaged it. But I was in the audience and they started clapping at the end. Go look. It's out there. Someone got me on audio file saying, how dare any of you clap for this garbage?
I remember that audio. That was as big as the Mel Gibson tapes were a decade ago. That was huge. Yeah. No, that was the audio file of the decade.
I mean, I was furious. And that's the thing, right? Because we want these films to be great. You know, I never want to go see a film and come out and say, oh my God, like 28 years later, most recently, or back to Beau is Afraid. Hell no. I want to be like, this is great, or at least the best version of whatever the story they're trying to tell is. But Beau is Afraid just doesn't work pretty much at any level outside of, like I said, I think I can agree with you for the first little bit of that film. But
Have you seen Eddington? That is the one.
No, I know. Listen, I haven't seen it.
Pat, there hasn't been an audio clip yet. I mean, we would know when the ace has seen Eddington.
If it is anywhere near as putrid as Beau is Afraid, watch out. But I'll tell you, listen, I'm going to give him, as I always do with all these films, a blank slate. We go in and we get the scale back to 0 and we start again. You know, I don't think about Hereditary. I think it's clearly his best film. And then Midsommar. You know, you talk about half of a good film, I think. There's a lot of good stuff to work with there. But, you know, listen, always start at 0 when I watch these films. I try to put everything in the past, and that's the only way to do it objectively.
So this is kind of the summer of Pedro Pascal. We've had one movie, and it's been I would say a success, right? For the size of movie it is. Reviews were fine.
Yeah.
It slightly overperformed. So he's 1 for 1-ish. Eddington is the next one. That feels like a big one. That's sort of the Oscar play. That's the prestige director play. Where do you see on the summer of Pedro right now?
Well, and you also have Fantastic Four, as you guys know.
Well, that's the one, yeah.
Pedro Pascal, I liked him in Materialists. I've seen him in some stuff, not everything he's done, but I think he's overrated for sure. I don't think he's a terrible actor. I don't think he is the best thing I've seen, but this is very much, as you said, a litmus test for his career going forward.
I mean, and we're going to get into Jurassic Park in a little bit because that's this weekend, but Fantastic Four, I mean, the BO boys were calling superhero fatigue before that was even a phrase. We knew this was coming, and we are fully way past it at this point. Over here at BOHQ, we are prepared to call Fantastic Four will be a bomb. That is where we are as of now. After Brave New World, after Thunderbolts, this feels as uncool as it gets. You look at that trailer, doesn't feel like there's a +1, anything new. What have you heard out there? You know, we're in New York. You're in Hollywood. You're in the epicenter. What's the word on Fantastic Four a month or so out?
Well, I have more to talk about Superman, honestly, because that is actually screened. To my knowledge, Fantastic Four is not screened yet, but I would agree with everything you just said. I mean, I am hopeful that it'll be a great film. I mean, listen, I always have that hope. Like I said, I don't want to see a film not be the best version it can possibly be. That said, you know, if it's not a great film, then that's where it really becomes problematic for Marvel. They're lucky, though, that it's Fantastic Four, because at least that's a name and a brand and, you know, part of the big core Marvel superheroes. It's not obviously the biggest, but still, it's not talking about an Ant-Man. This has a chance to, if it is great, do, I think, better than you're saying. That said, I don't think it will be, and you have every reason to be concerned and to think that this could go south and go south hard.
Yeah, because the thing about Fantastic Four, and I know what you mean about them being a core and like a cornerstone of the Marvel Universe. They were the first comic book published by them in that new 60s era, right? But how many people actually know that in a general audience, read comics, care about comics? Because comics didn't get a boost from the MCU doing what they did. So Fantastic Four, to a lot of people, are a team that had 2 movies in the 2000s that nobody really loved, the Roger Corman movie, and then that's kind of it, right? I mean, I don't know.
Don't
how
forget
much...
Josh Trank. Do not
That's
forget
right.
the Josh Trank
I forgot
version.
Trank.
Yeah, there is the Trank FF out there.
There is the Trank effect. That's right. So that could be something. But I think that's the thing is, it's important to the Marvel Universe, but what does that mean to a general audience? I think it means way less than a lot of people think it does.
Okay, but I think that's fair, but is it bigger than the New Mutants? Or I'm sorry, think about something like that. Or you look at the new Avengers / Thunderbolts. You got to say it's bigger than Thunderbolts. Okay?
Oh, for sure. It's
right?
bigger than, in a general audience sense, like Thunderbolts, New Avengers, whatever you want to call it, that means nothing to them. New Avengers more, but it's just more confusing. Yeah, you're right. Thunderbolts means probably Zip, and Fantastic Four means maybe, 5 ticks up from Zip.
Yeah, I mean, so you're looking at, if you're lucky, a 3-day of 90, 100. I mean, if someone's saying this is going to open at 150, they're clearly a Marvel shill or something, because that doesn't really jive, just especially with what we're seeing from the MCU box office standpoint over the past several films. Look at Marvel's. I mean, they didn't even get to 300 million worldwide. I mean, they are in huge trouble. And if this film does not do well, remember, the next film out is Avengers, right? So, and they have some time to work with. But like I've said multiple times on MMT, you just need time away, man. I mean, go back to when I was a kid. You had Madonna and all these big acts in the 80s. They knew to take a year off or a year and a half or what, and then come back. You need to regenerate interest, and Marvel's not allowed people to do that. It's just constant, a new movie every month and a half, 2 months, 3 months. And they really need to just go dark. No shows, no nothing, and then come back. But listen, I just want to see the film be the best possible version, but you have every reason to say, could Fantastic Four be another very underwhelming film in the MCU?
Yeah, I think there's a chance it does basically what Brave New World and New Avengers just did. If Fantastic Four ends up making under 200 million domestic total, I wouldn't be shocked.
I'm with you. I think that's fair. I do.
That happens.
I think summer helps, though. I will say summer helps because kids are going to still be out of school. There's not a lot of options when you look at, Superman's going to be out a few weeks before it. But, you look at like Jurassic World coming out this weekend. I know we're going to talk about that in a second, but you would think there'd be another film that's coming out over July 4th, like 2, right? You got, here comes Jurassic World plus the Pixar movie or another Disney something. There's nothing. So that helps because there's just not a whole lot of product due to the strikes, I would assume. There's just not as much packed in. Remember that summer, or what was it, like 2023? We had Spider-Verse and Transformers. There was like something new every week that did pretty well. And then eventually, you remember Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 got destroyed by Barbenheimer. That was that summer. That summer was crazy. Right. This summer's got a little more space to operate. Yeah, right? All that stuff. And that's, again, going back to people were excited to be back in the movie theater, Maverick. All these things were going off. So now, we'll see. I think it'll benefit from there not being a glut of product. So that might help out Fantastic Four.
Now, if Superman eats a ton of S and bombs, not bombs, but really underperforms, is that a domino effect that affects Fantastic Four? Because then is that like, okay, I just don't want any more superheroes?
Yes, that makes sense. But, my theory always is if a film underperforms ahead of your film should get a bump because people sat one out. So they're ready to come back to the movies. We go to the movies all the time. With A-List, I can go to 4 now a week. I mean, at least go typically to 3 movies a week, right? The average person doesn't do that. They maybe go once a month. So if they skip something, then the next film should benefit from that because then they've regenerated that interest and they want to come back. I mean, listen, Superman, as we pivot to that, talking about early reactions that I've talked to people who've seen it, I got a direct message from somebody very early on who saw the final cut of it, and I showed it on MMT. I never tell my sources, I never would, but they said Warner Brothers is very worried about Superman, and then the next sentence, they should be. Wow. And this is somebody who has not hammered every film that he or she has seen. So that is really alarming. Then they just had the press screening the other night for select people, and I'm not hearing great things out of that. So that's going to be very much of an issue for that film that comes out here, 10 days from now? Is it even that?
And those are the press screenings. The early ones are for the people who they think will really like it. I mean,
correct.
And if they're not coming out geeking out, saying this is the nerdiest, best geek thing I've ever seen in my geek life, then who's going to love this in a week when it's the New Yorker is going to see it?
Yeah, well, the Bazinga Bros. That's what we call them. The Bazinga Bros.
Of course, yeah.
You know what, though? Those people, I can't say I have too many of those on my contact list, thank goodness. But those people are totally untrustworthy. As you guys know, they're shills. They're just excited to get invited to the first screening, whatever that amounts to. And then you'll have all of that hitting the web coming up next Monday. Okay, that's the day of the social media embargo lifting. Monday night at like 9 o'clock. I'm going to do a live stream that night for sure on MMT. All that stuff will come in. It'll be real interesting to see the people who are relentlessly positive and then the people who are more objective, because there's going to be a big difference. I have a feeling when you look at those, you're going to be like, wait, is this the same movie? Because there are, from what I can hear and understand and what people are telling me, there's issues, a lot of issues.
Wow. Yeah, that is going to be the one. So Superman has always been the one that I think has the widest range of what it could do. And it basically, I think even more than Fantastic Four, it has to be great. Because there is the chance of that. It's James Gunn, so there's a chance there's a great movie there. But yeah, I mean, we have someone who we trust who's seen it, who was not giving it a positive review coming out. Yeah, there's a chance that is the disaster of the summer. Which you don't want to see, but
and I didn't even know this, right? You're telling me this. This is all adding up, right? We're getting that composite now of these people that aren't that impressed, and that's what I said early on about this film. It has to be great, and apparently it's not. Well, hello, you know why Warner Brothers is worried?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The dog's not going to be enough. Crypto the Super Doge is not going to be enough to save Superman. Let's get into the dinos coming out this weekend. Mm-hmm. It's Jurassic World Rebirth. What is the new thing about this movie? Obviously, they just had to do a sequel because they make $1 billion. I think the issue is, what is the even hook of this movie besides it's a new Jurassic World? I mean,
Scarlett Johansson.
Okay.
Listen, I saw this last Monday. It was the AMC Screen Unseen, the Regal Mystery movie. They gave it away because they can feel that people are not that excited to see another one. We just had it, 2 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we had everybody come back from the original and that. This one only has ScarJo, and really that's it, okay? And you look at this film, and when I watched it, I was down with sort of what it was doing, but then there is the injection of a storyline that completely destroys the film. And once that happens, I'm like, what are we doing and why is this happening? And so often when that occurs, you are completely incredulous that someone made the decision to do this. And the answer is, after watching Jurassic World Rebirth, there isn't anything. I mean, other than mutant dinosaurs. I mean, so what? There's a giant xenomorph-looking dinosaur at the end. Is that enough? No. It's also like 2 hours and 20 minutes, way too long. There's just a lot of issues with the film. I mean, Gareth Edwards, I think, makes it look pretty good. But there's no way that film gets to $1 billion. No way. Mm-hmm. Nuh-uh. Because remember, you go back even to the 2023, that's the benefit of the post-COVID push, right? That little extra bump that you got from things. And also, it had been, a few worlds? What was Jurassic World? What year was that one? The first Jurassic World? Was it like 18?
18, I think it was 2015. So this is
2015.
This is the fourth movie in 10 years.
So, okay.
Made.
So right,
Yeah.
so you the more time you have between the installments, then you have the opportunity to bump that higher. We were just there. We were just visiting Jurassic Park / World. So that's the issue. And I wondered, why are you making this movie? I remember coming out of the last one going, hey, Universal, you need to give people like 5 years break. And then here we are, 2 years later, here's another one. What? I mean, it just doesn't calculate. I can't even comprehend, other than the fact that the last one made $1 billion.
Yeah, and ScarJo is very famous. We all like her well enough. People know who she is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a person who's of the moment hotter than usual, in the sense that, okay, we've got someone who, you didn't put Sabrina Carpenter as the lead.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's ScarJo's reliable. Everyone knows who she is. But why is in 2025 that the add-on to this movie? And casting wise doesn't matter, but
you're probably right. You're probably right. I mean, I think she's hot. I mean, listen. She's more my demographic. You know what I'm saying? She's more in my wheelhouse than Sabrina Carpenter.
In terms of just in the public consciousness. I was not ranking them on the Maxim 100. Okay. Of course, we are the Maxim generation, but that's not how it's ranked.
Exactly. Oh, my God. No, that's fair. I really do. I think that's fair. And this is why the film is forecast around 80 for the 3, I think 120 for 5. Yeah. And the last one did over 100 for the 3, right?
They all have done, it looks like 148 and 145 were the last 2, and that is a 3-day weekend. I don't think this is the first time they've opened on a 5-day weekend. Those are both 3-day weekends. So this is a huge drop off right now.
Well, it's been 3 years. See, time flies. But either way, it's still not enough time that you need for people to go, I miss the dinosaurs. We just did it. I want to see something new. I mean, I think that's what's the appeal of F1. Look, F1's the best movie this summer that I've seen. It's not a contest. I have a feeling at the end of the summer, it's going to be the best movie I've seen. It's the best summer movie I've seen in a very long time. Mm-hmm. It's perfect. It's for families. There's really nothing objectionable in it. It just kicks ass in IMAX or PLF. I saw it in Prime. Whatever you choose, go for the upcharge on that. But let's hope that that's the film that ends up being the big runaway smash this summer, because I feel like it can, because the word of mouth on that film is through the roof. And people that don't normally rave about films, if you go on X, you see all these random people that are like political analysts and stuff going, oh my God, F1. That's how you build the biggest movie of the summer.
Yeah. I mean, do you think it takes a bite out of the dinos? I mean, I feel like it does. Not only having the IMAXs, but just the fact that, like you said, word of mouth. I came out of that movie just feeling, so high on it and loving it. And it's the kind of popcorn movie I used to love, and I think there should be more of. And that's what most people are saying. And You're not hearing that about dinos. You're not hearing that pre-release buzz. It's like, oh, it's back to, 2015 levels of excitement for this thing. It's just not there.
No, in F1, and listen, you can't. It's natural. I mean, you can't manufacture what F1 has going for it. You can't. It has to be organic, and the people that are coming out of that film organically love the film. And I can't even believe there's anyone who gave it a rotten review. I mean, listen, formulaic, duh, who cares? Doesn't matter. The filmmaking by Kaczynski, right after Maverick, this guy knows how to put together a massive film that sounds and just looks just absolutely ace. And when you get out of that thing, there's no choice but to tell everybody, you got to see F1. And that kind of marketing is unstoppable, and every studio wants it.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, you talked about it on your show, could be 5-6 times a multiplier. It could be Maverick. Obviously, like at the Maverick Heights, it didn't start there. It's not a sequel to Top Gun, but it could be this summer's. Hey, listen, here's the test. I'm going to take my father-in-law to see this movie.
Exactly. Yep.
This is a father-in-law movie or a dad movie, whatever, 100%. Whoever the older male in your life
is. Or a guardian.
Yeah. Whoever you got, they'll want to see this, and they might not have seen a movie since Maverick.
And that's exactly right. I mean, I told my parents, and my parents they don't go to the movies. I mean, last time they probably went to the movies was Maverick.
Right.
And because I know exactly what they want to watch. They're conservative. They're, grew up in Ohio. The stuff that they want to watch is very much like an F1 or a Maverick. And I understand that. So when I came out, I'm like, this is the movie. I know you guys don't go. You got to go. And also kids are going. I mean, you look, I just got a tweet from a guy saying he took his 8-year-old kids. This is the best movie he's ever seen. There's nothing really objectionable in this film. Okay, there really isn't. Even the sex scene with Brad Pitt, that's doesn't even show it, right? They show him going into the room,
water fountain,
and they wake up and they're in the bed. It's. I mean, listen, if you have a kid, that's no big deal. Yeah. And so I think that again, if you get that 5x or a 6x multiple, you're 700, 800, maybe 900 million, maybe. I mean, just maybe, because remember that opening, as you know, not as big. So that means there's more an available audience to tap into over the next several weeks.
So before you go, just staying on F1, Crapple TV Plus. They've been getting out of this is the first big theatrical release they've had in a while. They seem to be getting out of the game. If this continues to be a huge hit, is there any chance? We went on a long one about a movie they have coming up in the fall, The Lost Bus, which is another star with a vehicle. Behind a steering wheel movie. It's not a race car, but it's a bus. You got Matthew McConaughey.
Yep.
Is there any chance they look at this and they say, let's put this in 4,000 screens this fall. Let's make some money with a big star from the 90s who's got his hand on a steering wheel. You got Paul Greengrass directing it. Why is that going directly to the service and just in 20 theaters for Oscar considerations? Could that be a real theatrical wide release?
Well, listen, if it's great, and I'm at Apple, and I know that it is, I'm going to put it in theaters, and I'm going to try to put it at least in, let's even call it 1,500. Let's call it 2,000 max. Maybe you go like semi-wide. I mean, wide, but not, the full 4,000 or something like that. Listen, release date's going to matter. As you go into fall, things change, but awards films, prestige films, obviously that is their time. So let's hope. I mean, they're obviously very excited, and they should be, on the early results here on F1. It's encouraging for those of us who want to see these movies in theaters. Imagine if this were a Netflix movie. I don't know if I'd even see it. And then, right? And then, second, we'd be robbed of the experience of watching it in a theater. This wouldn't play, and it's not going to play the same at home. It just no contest. So again, we should just be thanking the high heavens that this isn't Netflix, because this is the kind of film that maybe would end up at a Netflix, because they spend all kinds of cash on stuff and they become insignificant within hours.
Yeah. I mean, the Greta Gerwig Narnia films, that's a crime against box office.
I agree.
And I think she's probably feeling like a prisoner at this point. I would think.
Didn't she get IMAX? Didn't they say yes? I would never do it. I would say no if I was IMAX, because if you're not going to commit to us, we're not committing to you. I mean, it's that simple. Someone's got to play hardball with Netflix. I don't care if the directors had to know. Greta had to know, right? And same with, you look at Glass Onion. You look at Ryan. He has to know. He's got to know that your film is not going to get treated theatrically at all at Netflix unless you beg and you drag them in the press. Just don't go work for them. And, so I don't have any pity for these directors who sign up with Netflix, because you knew what you're getting into.
Yeah, well, it's the devil's bargain.
Yeah, Greta did the thing, though, and I think it was before Barbie came out, and it was one of those things where, it's the ending of The Mist. It's like, she waited just, it was just like just a little bit after. If she would have waited, she could have been, not taken that deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. That's a great God, The Mist. What an ending.
You just wait 2 more minutes and you're fine.
Yeah.
Oh, what a
2 more minutes. So Eric, you have to go. Anything that you want to plug? Of course, Midnight Movie Talk is your YouTube channel. Anything else going on that you want to let the Wannabe O Boys, Wannabe O Girls, Wannabe O people know about?
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, we're on live every Sunday night for sure, usually Thursday night as well. If you are on YouTube, search for us, Midnight Movie Talk. And again, like you guys, we just shoot live. There's no editing. So what's good stays and what's bad stays too. So it's a case of just being done with it. Off into the ether it goes.
Great. And then you could go out and you play some volleyball and forget about it. That's all right. So Eric, we can't have these large gaps in between episodes. We got to have you at a Jurassic World pace, which is too much.
That's right. That's about what we were. It's been over. Well, listen, I don't think it's been 3 years, but it's been a while. We will definitely up the pacing. I have no problem with that.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Eric.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one. Clayton, do you have anything else that you want to say about this opening weekend of Jurassic World that we didn't get to with the Ace?
No, listen, the Ace, he killed it. He came out guns blazing, grinding all the axes. I think the thing about, it's hard. I have this movie in my draft.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have Megan 2.0 no, but I also have F1. So it's up and down, and that's how it is. That's how it is. It's an up and down thing. I don't feel any excitement myself for this film, and I have it in a league.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what the general public is feeling, and it just, I don't think there's much sort of momentum for this. So we'll get to what we think is going to happen this weekend, but I don't really have much else to say about this movie right now.
The one thing I'll say about the lack of momentum or lack of buzz is it's not like there was a lot of buzz on the last two. I think Jurassic World, there was. People were legitimately excited. The park is going to open. We haven't had one of these movies in a long time. That one had legitimate Pratt's in it. You had a new movie star. That had excitement. The two Pratt sequels, I don't think there was much buzz beforehand. Maybe not even any more than it felt like for this one.
Yeah.
So maybe that doesn't matter. I mean, the Jurassic Park movies could kind of be like the Avatar movies in that people don't think they care, and then they come out, and then everyone just goes.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
On a different level, obviously. But.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and there's probably a lot of kids going to this Jurassic movie, and they're not tweeting, they're not blue skying, they're not Snapchatting about it.
Right. They're twitching, but we don't hear them.
Yeah, we don't twitch.
Yeah.
Oh, I twitch, but that's a neurological issue.
Right.
Yeah. But
I look away anytime that happens. I try not to pay attention.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's true. It's one of those things where I'm sure there's going to be a lot of walk-up business. There's no like Reddit threads excited about Jurassic Park leaks the way they are about, Fantastic Four or Superman.
Right. No one, exactly. No one cares if the T-Rex is going to team up with someone or who's going to play the T-Rex. It's, is John Krasinski going to be a velociraptor in this one? Yeah. So I think the lack of buzz is real, but also doesn't matter as much for a movie like this.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that. But you would like to think that, ScarJo could drum up some sort of fan fervor. But like you said, and like the Ace said, I mean, there's just nothing new about her, which is positive in a way because you have a sure hand and you have a person they know. It's not all newbies, which would be bad.
Right. But they didn't take a chance on anyone. And again, just to clarify, when I said ScarJo's not at her hottest, I meant in terms of buzz, popularity, not Maxim 100 hot list.
You'll know when we drop the BO Boys Hot 100, that's when we are then talking about hotness.
Yes, about Maxim 100 style. Yes. But that was not the ranking here when I said, but someone like a Sabrina Carpenter, if you cast SNL mainstay Sabrina Carpenter,
because she started as an actor.
She started as an actor, and obviously now she's one of the most important people in SNL history, as you saw in the SNL 50.
Yes, up there with Steve Martin.
Yes.
Up there with John Goodman. Up there with Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, you don't have Dana Carvey on the show, but you had to have Sabrina Carpenter 3 different times. But that shows right now she is in a specific place in the public consciousness that is, I think, higher than ScarJo. Even if ScarJo is more known and been around longer. So if Jurassic World had went for it and cast someone like her in the lead, I don't know if that is a good move, but it's definitely a big swing. And they clearly were not taking any big swings on this movie. They just cast a famous person who's been famous for a while. They cast Mahershala Ali, who's got 2 Oscars. And, I guess people have seen him when he accepted his Oscars. And they just played it safe. And that's what this movie is. It is a total safe play. The story is they're going back to the island. So they played it safe, but they didn't do anything that could really make this pop.
It feels like a stopgap, and it feels like a kind of movie you make to keep the rights to something. Like, it almost felt like they were going to lose the rights to dinosaurs or Jurassic Park or Jurassic World or something. And I know that's not the case, but that's what it feels like, right? Because they didn't seem like they had a great idea. They just had to get something out.
Yes.
But like Ace was saying, why? Because this movie would do better 2 years from now.
Right. I think the pretty much the consensus is that if they didn't make this quickly, they weren't going to have a big summer movie this summer.
And they knew dinos, sure thing, at least going to get us to 700, 800, hope maybe $1 billion if people are dumb enough.
Right. I think it's the Fast X was a bomb. They probably would have assumed they would have made another Fast movie for this summer, and then that didn't happen, so they just had to rush the dinos. I mean, Vin Diesel bombing out kind of got the dinos paid.
Yeah, so if you're a T-Rex, you can thank Vin.
Yeah.
And you should. We should all thank Vin.
Yeah, thank you, Vin.
Thank you, Vin.
He's trying to bring back Paul Walker, and he's doing what he can. So, yeah, I think it's a kind of, at this point, boring movie to even think about anymore.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time thinking about it, for sure.
Yeah. So we'll get to our predictions. Let us dip into the mailbag. We got a great email from Javier, our man on campus, Javier, who did a boots on the ground school survey. Of course, everyone knows Javier. He's in college. He goes around on campus, shows people a list of movies, gets a take on what the college kids are excited about, and then reports back. So Javier wrote,
is there I wonder if with this, is there like a chug a beer, pick a movie situation? Because, there's always the drinking aspect to college. Everybody's just boozed up all the time, and they'll have marathons where it's every mile you take a beer. Do you think that's what it is? It's like chug this beer and then pick which movie.
Well, I think a lot of the people he surveys are in the middle of keg stand. So he's got to go up, tap them on the butt because they're upside down and the butt is face level, taps them on the butt. Hey, could you look at this list of movies and let me know which one you're interested in? And then people are yelling 38, 39. We're going to set a record, 40, 41. Then it's,
And
108, 109. Then they're like, is he dead? And then you got to check, is this just a dead body that you're holding up by his feet? And then if he's not, he could do Javier's survey, or she, or they. So let's take a look. He says, Dear BO Boys, have another school survey, this time involving the movies coming out in July. The ones here, Jurassic World Rebirth, Superman, Fantastic Four. First steps. Superman led the way by a good bit, with many people I've talked to expressing great enthusiasm for it. Fantastic Four came in second, Jurassic came in last. I'm very interested in seeing these three behemoths play alongside each other, how they're received. Curious to hear your thoughts. As always, please keep doing what you do. So it's Superman, but he said a big margin, and then Fantastic Four, and then Jurassic, which
makes sense.
That it makes sense for college. Yeah.
I mean, the interest in Superman out of those three doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to run out and see it either.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's the other thing, is that out of those three movies, it might be the most, okay, I'll check this one out, because there's been the longest gap, other than, I know there hasn't been a Fantastic Four movie in a while, but it's just an MCU movie, So, the gap has been from Thunderbolts, New Avengers to that. So I think Superman is probably the one they're most interested to see if it's good.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think Superman could still pull it off, though. Yeah, this is damning. Starting to hear a bad word from critics' greetings. That because that movie, again, it has to be great. If it's not good, it could fully bomb out. That's a movie that could drop 80% the second weekend if it stinks.
I haven't heard a good word from anybody who's seen this movie.
Man, I mean, it's going to be tough. I mean, we'll see, because it sounds again like we're relishing this, and like the A said, we root for box office, and if Superman and Fantastic Four
it's terrible for theaters.
It's terrible for theaters.
That's so many unbought Raisinets.
Yes. Yeah.
That's so many buckets of popcorn and novelty buckets
Right.
sitting and getting dusty.
Yeah. Oh man.
You don't want a dusty bucket.
You don't want a dusty bucket because then you go see some in the end of August and they're putting the popcorn in a dusty bucket and you're getting sick.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at another email here. We got an email from past guest Micah has emailed us. He says F1 is the subject. So Micah McCaw, of course, he has the McCaw Cinematic Universe podcast that we've been on. He's been on our show. He says, hello, BO boys. I'm emailing you about Apple. No one in the world needs to defend a faceless studio, but I think with the smashing success of F1, it's worth two potential options for the show. Drop the pus because of their decision to put it in theaters and slam dunk this movie. It's now Crapple TV Plus. Or if Apple puts either High to Low or Busboy or whatever it's called in theaters, you drop the pus and change it to a plus. Either way, it's still Crapple until they get, say, 5 great BO runs. Micah. Interesting there. So Micah is suggesting, has Crapple TV Plus done enough with F1 that we drop the pus?
It's just, here's the only way that F1 will make me drop the pus. Just F1.
Okay.
And its run. It's going to have to do $1 billion. It's going to have to do $1 billion globally. And then the pus is gone. Because that's the only thing that's going to get rid of the pus. I can't see lauding this company for making one good decision.
Okay.
It seems too much because then they're already fumbling to other movies that should be in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
The next Spike Lee movie and The Lost Bus. So I can't just remove the pus and then the pus will just come back. Like, you need something more than just one film to get the pus to go away.
Yes.
And for it to heal and become a studio that is a plus and not full of pus.
You can't just wipe off the pus.
No, it'll excrete again.
Yeah. And that's the issue with Crapple TV Plus is if they put highest to lowest straight to the service and the Lost Bus straight to the service, they're still full of pus no matter what F1 did.
But if they keep this in theaters, if they keep F1 in theaters and they push it to a Billy, which would be insane.
Yeah.
Then that'll take the pus away.
That'll take a lot of pus away. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's on the table. They could become Crapple TV Plus someday, but they are still pus to us.
Yes.
We got a email from wannabe old boy Craig. So Clay, do you remember a few weeks ago talking about the mystery movie events?
I do
Craig
remember
wrote
this.
in and he said that you had on a previous episode said that these events are free. The mystery movies, the Tuesday mystery movies, you said they were free. And you then said on the recent episode that you had never said that. Craig said that you said that on an old episode. We said, go find the tape. He found the tape. He sent us a clip of you on an old episode surmising that those mystery movie nights where they have a new upcoming movie play, but people don't know what it's going to be. You said that those would be free on an old episode. He found the tape.
We got an email from someone who saw a preview, a free surprise preview of Gladiator 2, and said it's not going to be a Best Picture winner. Probably won't be nominated. But it's going to have legs, is what this person is saying. I'm going to pull up the email.
Yes, I'm looking at this now. So this is from wannabe old boy Craig from Canada.
Okay, yeah, okay. So I've seen this clip.
Yeah,
and it is an older episode.
Yes,
like, he dug deep.
Yes,
and I applaud Craig for let's just say it resurfaced, because that's what happens when somebody goes in and they try to embarrass you and they find evidence. It resurfaces, because that's the way of saying, I didn't just take all my time to dig something up to make you look stupid or bad or a criminal.
Yeah.
So this resurfaced. So let's give Craig the respect he deserves by saying this resurfaced.
Yeah. You're
He
the victim of a resurfacing. Is this the first time that anything has ever resurfaced on you?
First time, probably not last time, but first time for sure. But the thing is with this comment that I made was that we only got the clip of the context of me talking about something I believe Craig said about another preview.
Okay.
Where it was not stated. I believe sometimes people do get free movie tickets. I know that these like mystery screenings are sometimes $5, sometimes cheaper. They are sometimes free. You sometimes do get to see free screenings depending on where you fall in the status of moviegoer, right?
Okay.
Because like I'm a SAG member in terrible standing, and the standing has only gotten worse. It's actually in terrible shambles at this point. When we're talking about standing, like I'm in Chauncey Megan standing when it comes to SAG. It's very bad. But I could get free screenings if I had paid my dues since pre-COVID. So
Okay.
some of these screenings of movies are free.
Okay.
But these ones, these surprise movies, tend to not be.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is,
I feel like this audio now is going to resurface on you in a few years. I feel like this explanation will be a future resurfacing.
Listen, I said it wouldn't be the last time. I think Craig did his best. He gave a good college try to embarrass me.
Yeah.
And make me look like an idiot.
Yeah.
And he missed, but he tried, and I have to give him respect for that.
So Craig in that same email, because he also in a previous email was saying that we've got to come out. He's in Canada, and he wants us to do a show in Western Canada.
Yes. We want to go over to enemy lines, and we want to bring peace. We want to be uniters, not dividers.
Yeah.
And I say, and the thing is, I'm a big enough person. If we do this show, which I'd love to shake Craig's hand and say, good try.
Mm-hmm.
Good try.
Right.
Because it was a good try.
Good try resurfacing. Good resurfacing, but you didn't do the job.
Something did resurface, but it wasn't damning enough.
It wasn't damning enough. So Craig wants us to come out, play a show in Western Canada. And we had said one of our provisions before we go anywhere is it has to either be a big city or at least a city in Canada that could double for New York in movies and TV shows.
Yeah, New York dupe.
And so Craig writes, I am pleased to report that my city in Western Canada does double for NYC. Many films and TV shows are filmed right on my block. I have attached an image of NYC taxis taken in my neighborhood of New Westminster, British Columbia, part of the greater Vancouver area, as proof. And then he does, and I'll edit this into the show, send us a picture of New York City yellow cabs that are prop cars parked in his neighborhood. Now, I assume that's his neighborhood. I assume he's not lying and just sent us a Google image of New York City taxis from a parking lot in New York City. We assume that these are prop taxi cabs that are in his town of, what is it, New Westminster?
I believe Craig took that. I mean, because it's exciting to see a New York
New
cab.
Westminster, yeah.
It's exciting to see a New York cab in Canada. I mean,
yeah.
I would think that that's something that, he would absolutely take a picture of.
Yeah. So, okay. So listen, as of now, we don't have a tour date on the docks for 2025. We're doing what Marvel doesn't normally do and taking a little break in between, let people build anticipation. But you know what? New Westminster, Canada is now on the list of possible locations for the next BO Boys tour. It has New York City taxi cabs that are lying around there. That makes me feel more comfortable right off the bat, that I know I could put my little arm out there, wave, and an NYC cab will be around, even if it's driven by an actor.
But how are the slices, Pat? I mean, we got to know, how's the slices?
Yeah.
Because if they ain't got a good slice, you
Cr-
know, it's
Craig,
gonna
could
be
you give
tough.
us a slice report and I know this is not going to be good, but might as well a bagel report. What is the
Oh,
bagel situation? I mean, they
you
don't have the
can't.
right water. They don't have the right water, so the bagels are probably not going to be good. But let us know. Give us a pizza slice and a bagel report from
Yeah.
this town of New Westminster. As it's listed, it's on the list of possible sites for BO Boys next tour. It's going to
It,
be allowed to make a bid for a show.
yes. It's gonna make it. Yeah, absolutely. It's like the world. We are like the World Cup.
Yes.
People are gonna have to bid on us. The locations are gonna have to bid on us.
Yeah. Yeah. We did the first tour with that, but now it's site fees. We need site fees from these cities.
Yeah.
But it's on the list. So thank you for that one, Craig.
And Craig, listen, like Filter said, hey man, nice shot.
Yeah. So we got an email, got a couple of emails from our boy Jason, wannabe old boy Jason. This one is called Pixar Plateau. Hey guys, sounds like Elio nabbed 12 million this weekend. If memory served, didn't Elemental fall 8 to 12 and just hold there for a long time? Is it possible that outside of a blockbuster like Inside Out 2, this is the actual BO of a Pixar film? Once the glitter of an opening weekend is passed, Pixar can expect to hold here for a bit as latecomers finally get to the theater. I think next weekend will really tell the tale of the tape, but it does seem interesting. Your interns might be able to dig into the files and pull up Lightyear and other comps as well. I don't recall them offhand. Wannabe oh boy Jason. Clayton, we didn't talk much on the last episode about the second weekend of Pixar's Elio. It dropped 50% to 10 million, not 12 million, as Jason was hoping for. Second weekend was 10 million. This movie's at 41.9 million. I don't think Elio is going to be an Elemental situation. I think this is really just going to keep falling. But what do you think? Do you hear anything differently? Does Elio have any chance to have any kind of legs?
Well, so, I think Megan really saved Elio's bacon in a way when it came to just people talking about what went wrong. Because I've seen multiple, listen, Jason Blum went on a famous actors podcast to talk about that movie and its failure. And nobody from the Elio camp has talked on a actors podcast about the failure of this movie.
Right.
But there was a big write-up in the Hollywood Reporter about, how there was a completely different movie called Elio that everybody saw in a screening and were asked, would anybody go see this movie? And everybody said no. There's not a single person who said yes. So they scrapped it and they made a whole new movie, and then this movie came out. And from what I hear is that people have said that anybody who's seen it has kind of liked it. It's been good. I said on a previous episode, a couple episodes ago, that I was rooting for this little guy. But I do think that's true. I think Pixar is not a must-see. It's not at the point where every single thing they put out is looked at as a brilliant piece of art. This is looked at as a kid's movie that maybe is a little bit better and more elevated in mind than maybe your Minions, or your Minions, I'm sorry. And I think that's what this is now. It's just a little bit of a better kids movie than some other kids movies.
Right.
And that doesn't bring the butts to the seats. And and I think we've called out the Pixar pervs, and I think they're on, people are on watch for them. And so they've stopped showing up, and that's really dinged these movies as well. Because now we put a name on them, and people can spot them and they get shouted out. And so that has really hurt this box office.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at Elemental in 2023. Its second weekend, it had a higher opening weekend, opened at 29 million. And then its second weekend, it only dropped 38%. Second weekend of Elio dropped 50%. So
yeah,
we're not going to have another Elemental run with Elio. This is just going to hold a little bit better than the average movie and then kind of go away.
Yeah.
And that's a shame. I mean, you look at Disney, man, their brands are failing. Marvel, Pixar's weak other than when it does sequels. Marvel's weak. Star Wars is just a TV show now. It's not a movie franchise. They are in bad shape with their brand management over at Disney.
Yep.
So let's see. We'll read one more email here. Well, we got another email from Jason. The subject is K-pop Demon Hunters. Jason writes, "Hi guys. I know you're not the Streamo Boys, but want to let you know that K-pop Demon Hunters is a really solid family-friendly movie. I know you both have little wannabe people in your circle, so pass that along. On a side note, what I really think is damning for Pixar is the online chatter. Everything about Elio seems pretty standard stuff, while K-pop Demon Hunter reviews are almost wholly glowing. Shame it wasn't in theaters. The rats need their cheese. K-pop Demon Hunters delivers." Clint, do you know what K-pop Demon Hunters is? Is that a Streamo, a Netflix movie? I guess he says we're not the Streamo Boys, and we clearly are not, because I have never heard of this K-pop Demon Hunters movie.
And it's for kids?
It's for K-pop Demon Hunters. He recommended that to the little ones in our lives. So
I'm looking it up. It's like all female. Okay. Yeah, I know nothing of this.
Yeah, I've never heard of this, but there you go. There's a Streamo recommendation that's skated under the radar on this show.
Yeah.
So good on you, Jason, for getting that in there. Clint, we got an email from a wannabe old boy, Sean, and he says Denzel driving is the subject. He says, "Hello, BO boys."
This is not Sean the alcoholic.
This is not Sean the alcoholic.
Okay.
We have several Seans who listen to the show. Of course, we had the great Sean Donnelly. Little Shawnee Boy was a guest on our New York City show, close friend of Clayton's, but that's a different
not a close
Sean.
friend of me.
Close friend of Clayton's from way back, of course, and you guys
no.
had a good time, mix it up on stage, going back and forth. But that is not
He
this
couldn't
Sean.
pick me up out of a lineup. He couldn't pick me up out of a lineup.
But we have a different Sean who wrote in. We have many Seans, and this Sean is the one who emailed us. He said,
Sean Donnelly from Burbs Bros. Now I know. Okay.
Yes.
There we go.
From all of the Burbs Bros AI videos that you watch on your phone. Yeah. So, hello, BO Boys. Wanna be O Boy Sean, aka Movie Midness on Instagram. I love all the Crapple TV Plus driving ideas. Would love to see Denzel driving more trains for sure. As a devoted train buff and Tony Scott fan, RIP. I'm sure you both remember Denzel vying for control of a submarine in Crimson Tide. That's right. Or all of the different things he drove in Deja Vu, all Tony Scott vehicles. High school me was obsessed with all the Denzel and trains. One footnote I wanted to add to your Pelham 12309 remake commentary is that technically the only train Denzel drives in that movie is a little hand car with train wheels, delivering the ransom money to Travolta before forking over any other subway maintenance tools and being forced to watch Travolta send the hostage-filled subway car running away by itself until automatic brakes stopped it. And then towards the very end, Denzel does hijack a pickup truck in order to chase Travolta one last time, and then gets home, hopefully with a half gallon of milk he had promised his wife. And then finally, Sean says, anyway, love listening to your pod. Hope to catch the Lost Bus in theaters. I would sure love to get that opportunity and not be cheapskated out of that deal by Crapple TV Plus. Thanks, Sean. Wow, a lot there. Mm-hmm. So there you go. Denzel, you were right, does not drive the train. In my mind, Denzel was the train conductor in the train, but apparently Sean rewatched this recently, and in Pelham 123, Denzel drives a pickup truck chasing John Travolta, but not a train itself. So there you go.
Yeah. I mean, this is great. I mean, that's a kind of like deep research that we aren't able to do on the fly because fuck it, we do it live. It's a raw feed.
It's a raw feed, yeah. Yeah. So thank you, Sean, for really diving deep into 2009's Pelham 123 remake. Nine. And yeah, I think that is all we have to go over this week in the mailbag. So, of course, email us to theboboyspodcast@gmail.com. Clayton, we have got to get to predictions right now. It is time for our top 5 weekend predictions.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to go first or second?
I'll go in the F1 position.
Wow. Okay. Go for it, Clayton. What is your box office predictions for this weekend? Are you giving 5-day for Jurassic Park?
I'll give 5-day for Jurassic Park, but I'm not going to give 5-day for the rest of them.
Right.
So I think Jurassic Park. Well, it's Jurassic World.
Jurassic
For us,
World
it'll always
Rebirth.
be a park, yeah. But I think it's going to make. You know what? I think it's going to be low. I think it's going to make 65 in the 3-day.
Wow.
And I think it's going to make I think it's going to make under 100. I think it's going to make 96.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I think F1 is going to make $45 million.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And then underneath that, I think it's going to be Train Your Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Under that, I think it's actually going to be 28 years later.
Okay.
And then under that, I think it's going to be, I'm going to say Lilo and Stitch, because I think Megan 2.0 and Elio are going to just eat S.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Eat S, eat D. Yeah.
Now, is there anything else? Is there anything else this weekend that's opening that is at all going to make like $6 or $7 million?
I am not seeing anything in wide release other than Jurassic World Rebirth. There is a limited release Alex Ross Perry documentary called Video Heaven.
Okay, that's going to be in like 4 theaters, maybe.
Yes, and I think they're all going to be in walking distance of one of our apartments for sure.
Yes. And then This Is Spinal Tap is doing a special engagement re-release.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I think that's a Fathom event.
Okay.
But it could go up to 11.
It could go up to $11,000 possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Lick My Love Pump. Right?
still got it.
Yep.
Well, they are making a sequel to that.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm not being glib. I
No,
love
it's
that
a great
film.
movie.
It's a
Yeah.
great film. It's
Yeah.
endlessly quotable.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Dana Carvey's first movie role.
Shit sandwich.
So, of course, number 1, I got Jurassic World Rebirth. Man, if this movie opens under 100 for a 5-day, this is pretty bad for the box office. So I can't even bring myself to predict that. I mean, those movies have opened around 140 for 3 days. I think it'll do 132 for the 5-day.
Okay.
And I think that means the 3-day is probably like 90.
Mhm.
I think it'll do it. I think the kids will come out for it. So I got that. Now, number 2, F1. I love. So your 3-day prediction was 45 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be number 2. I'd love to see that. I mean, this is a movie that maybe in the 5-day does around 50 or 60 million for the 5-day.
Yeah. Could it do what it did in the 3-day of its original release?
Right. It did 57 million in the 3-day last weekend. Yeah, I think it could do 57 million in the 5-day in its second weekend.
And I don't want to interrupt your top 5, but the only thing is, like, I'm going high on this weekend, but obviously Friday is 4th of July.
Right.
So that is
right.
bad for movies because the dads are going to be barbecuing.
Right.
And so they're going to be manning the grill. They're not going to be going to see F1. But later, Saturday, Sunday, even into the rest of the week, like, I do think that the Deba days going
the
to be
day-by-days.
spectacular.
I mean, the day-by-days have been great for F1 these first few day-by-days. Just want to really quickly look at a couple of day-by-days for F1. I mean, the only day-by-day we have as of right now is on Monday. It did 6.9 million in its Monday day-by-day.
Yeah.
So it is holding up really well.
Yeah.
Right now. So all right, number 2 is going to be F1, and then number 3, will be How to Train Your Dragon. Number 4, you're right, man. But 28 Days Later also feels dead in the water.
Yeah.
Here's where I'm going to go. Number 4 is going to be Lilo and Stitch.
Okay.
And then number 5 will be, I think, Elio. at this point. I think Megan is going to fall to like 7th or something. I mean
it's got such a stench.
Yeah. I think next weekend, Elio, or I'm saying Megan 2.0 is going to be under like Mission Impossible and Materialist, possibly.
Wow. Okay. Yeah,
So,
I could see that for sure. I mean, I said Joker Folia Doo drop, so it is possible it drops 81%.
yeah. So it's gonna be an interesting weekend to see what the public, where the public is on these dinos. I think they'll be there. I think they'll go. Yeah. I don't think the dinos are going to be a giant, a calamitous drop this weekend. So we'll see.
I just think the 4th on a Friday is not a good thing for this movie.
Yeah, possibly, but if fireworks are at night, it's going to be hot out. You can't barbecue for 10 hours straight.
Oh, there's people who can.
Okay. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how long people could cook a hot dog on Friday, or if they need a break to go see the dinos. So email us, theboboyspodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on social media at theboboyspod on TikTok and Instagram. Wannabe VP of Interns Christopher's killing it with the vertical clips, just killing it. So follow us at the BO Boys Pod. Subscribe to the Substack. Subscribe to the YouTube. We are YouTubers. Hey guys. And subscribe there. And of course, again, follow our guests. Subscribe to Erick's Midnight Movie Talk YouTube channel. He's got shows every Sunday night, different shows during the week. So subscribe to his YouTube channel. And 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. And that's it, Clayton. That's all I got.
Yeah, Pat. So you're at home. Did you finish?
Yeah, I'm done. Totally done.
Great. I finished as well. You've said it all. Maybe too much.
Okay.
And there's nothing left to be said.
All right. So I could leave.
Except for until next time.
We'll smell you.